Hi there, it's Hélène and welcome back, or if it's your first time, welcome to HMM Makeup or Makeup. I am ready to do more swatching, and it's a good thing because this is a monster of a palette that I received from Steph. Steph is Steph Lyons here on YouTube. I will put her channel there, and I will also put the video of the package that I received from her that included this palette. I think it's worthwhile to take a look. But today we are swatching, and I'm going to have my two forearms ready because this palette is huge. It's huge, but it's actually really well curated. So let me just open it up for you so you can see it before we start swatching the Royal We. Look at this gorgeousness. And when I look at this palette, I really have, there's some transition from one side to the next, but I really see this as one palette, this as one palette, and this as one palette. Just in my mind's eye, it just fits that way. So purples and pinks, and so more fiery colors in this section, and then kind of a nature look here with greens and blues. Hopefully that makes sense. As far as, not that you think the same way, but I think just thinking that maybe you can see my perspective on why the palette seems to have sections in my mind. But as much as it has sections, it feels like a cohesive color layout. It doesn't look all over the place. Unlike a little bit the Nikki Tutorials and Beauty Bay collab, I'll put the swatches video right there for you on that one. That one feels a lot more all over the place, whereas to me, this one speaks to the side of me that loves order as opposed to chaos. So that is what we're going to be swatching. Now this is a lot of eyeshadow. There's 8 across and 5 down. So that's 40 shadows. Normally the most I can get on my forearms is 32, 16 per arm. So this is going to be a real challenge for me, but let's see if we can make it happen. Fingers crossed. Okay, so I'm going to go, I think, from the left of the palette and proceed down, even though I kind of want to start from this side and go this way. Can you tell I like purples and pinks? And actually my look today has quite a bit of pink in it, and a blue eyeliner. If you want to see how I came up with this look, I'll put the video right there for you. Okay, let's get going. So as I said, I'm going to start with the greens, and I'm going to keep those swatches very, very tight together, so there might be a little overlap. We'll do the best we can. Again, 20 per arm is what I'm trying to achieve. It feels like like an Olympic event. Let's see what happens. Okay, I have the first 4 green colors here, and the pinky is the one that is the most intriguing, although I like this matte as well. And the khaki too, really. I mean, it's a really nice set of colors. So I'm being very, very careful with how close I'm putting them together here. That is, you know what, as much as it's a pukey green color, this one would look really great on the eye, I have no doubt. And this one as well. Look at that. Look at that color. That is so cool. And that really nice green. Yeah, I'm a sucker for lime green. I think I have a video on lime green and yellow. It's from a long time ago, but it definitely speaks to my preference, and I kind of go and play in my collection. If you want to see that video, I'll put it there as well. Okay, so we've got 4 colors here that I'm going to repeat. Okay, so they're the first 4 colors in the top left-hand corner of the palette. And the mattes really are saturated with color, and they are very smooth And they even have, for some reason, in the formula, they're kind of sticky, which is really great. That's really rare in a matte formula, so that's interesting. Okay, so here are the first 4 greens and the fingers, because the fingers look a whole lot more like the colors would look like on the eye. And let's go for the next 4. Okay, we only have 2 greens in here because the last one looks more like a bluish turquoise, and this one is definitely not in the green family, but they seem to be a good assortment regardless. So let's get keeping very, very close. Got to keep close here. So that matte is probably going to build up quite nicely. And here is a Kelly green. The last palette I swatched had one of those. Nikki Tutorials palette, and this looks like a topper. Yeah, definitely looks like a topper. And okay, kind of a greeny blue or turquoise color. Okay, let's double swatch those. There's some interesting names to these. I haven't been reading the names out, but this one is Key Lime, which I think is a really great name, and the one beside it is Tahiti green, which I think is great. This one they're calling Tropics, Vanilla, and Reef, which is a nice color name as well. Some tropical fish have this kind of color on their scales, so yeah, that's really nice. Not a whole lot of payoff on this one, but I don't think it's a bad swatch necessarily. It's more on the pastel-y side. I do wish that this one were showing up a little bit more. I think I'm going to just try to enhance it just a little bit so it shows up more. Some mattes just have trouble. Okay, there we go. So we have 8 shadows on here so far. Okay, and in the kind of foresty tropical area here, this section, we only have these 2 blues left. So I'm just going to swatch these 2, and then we're going to get into this category. And what I'm going to do is swatch 3 at a time there, just to give you an idea of what I'm up to and where we are in the palette. The 2 blues that I'm swatching are the Deep and Lagoon. So this is the Deep, and it feels like it's going to crumble on me. Yeah, it's crumbling. The Deep, even though I didn't dig into the pen, it's crumbling on me. And this is Lagoon. Okay, so let's re-swatch those 2. Oh, and here are the fingers, just in case you want to see. So I'm picking up the Kick Up because they're both mattes. And let's just, not that they need a huge amount of help here, but I always double swatch. Okay, so there we have those. Okay, so we have 10 colors already. I don't know if we're going to make it for 10 more, but we'll see what we can do. All right, so we are now into the more fiery and earthy kind of shadows. And we've got clean fingers, so let me dig right in. And the names say it all. There's clay, sand, mango, cocoa, yellow, sundown. So they're all those kinds of colors. Okay, so I've got 3 across because it's a 3-column section. So we've got clay here, sand, kind of orangey peach for sand, and mango. Okay, so let's swatch these 3 again. They're very similar, aren't they? There's just a little bit of shimmer, it looks like, in the middle color. Maybe not. It kind of looked like shimmer as I was putting my finger toward you in the camera. But maybe it's just a little bit of sparkle to help with the blending, I'm not sure. Okay, so that's clay again. Sand. And mango. Okay, so we have those three done, and let's go to the next row. Okay, and we have Cocoa, Yellow, and Sundown. So Cocoa, I have to keep my arm up. We're getting to the end of the arm here. Cocoa, Yellow, and Sundown. Oh, yeah, I can see that being kind of a sunset color. Okay, let's just double swatch those fingers. Okay, again, same three colors. Cocoa, yellow. Oh, that built up beautifully, and Sundown. Okay, good. Doing well here. And let's go for another row. The next one, okay, the next color, it says Rum, and it's a really sparkly brown color, and that looks, or shadow, it looks really good. And then there's Coral, self-explanatory, and after that there's Blaze. Wasn't going to do all the names, and look at me go now, hey? All right, so we have Rum, Coral, and Blaze. Okay, Blaze really did not pick up well at all. I'm hoping the second swatch will look better for Blaze. Let's see. Blaze is very dry. All right, so here's the second go of Rum, and Rum, of course, because it's a tackier shadow, it sticks quite nicely. And that's Coral, and then Blaze. Okay, so that's what those look like. Rum is really stealing the show. Look at that color. It's beautiful. And the fingers, look at that. So nice. I am at 19 colors, so I'm going to do one last one called 10 lines to get to 20. So we did it. Here's 20, 10 lines. There we go. Okay, so we've got 20, we've got half the palette here on the first forearm, and now we're going to go and see if we can make it to 20 on the other arm. Okay, to start off, I'm going to finish the last two shadows that were in the same lineup as 10 lines in that second kind of palette in the middle. Let's start with those. And we've got Bear and JJ. So Bear and JJ. So again, really close to the hand here. That is Bear, good name for that color. And we have JJ. Okay, so I'm going to resume to go to 3 fingers for the next little bit of shadows. just to show you where I'm at. So we finished these. So these two are the first two that I've put on the second arm, and we're going down here. So that's the last bit of what I consider kind of a palette on its own. So let's finish that, and then I'll resume with the 3 fingers on this last palette section that I mentioned earlier. Okay, I just did another go on those 2 shadows, and now we're going to go into that last row. Of 3 in the middle. Okay, so this is ginger. Stay really close. Ginger, hibiscus, that is very pink, and chili pepper. It's kind of a sticky red matte, actually. Okay, so those are really close together. Let's see if we can redo that. I'm liking how they handled the reds in this palette. They're not faded out reds. They look like they've got quite a bit to them. Okay, I'm happy with that. This is a relatively neutral one, kind of in the middle, but it's not a bad set of colors. All right, and let's go for another row. We have successfully finished this. We have successfully finished these. As you know, we have now finished this section completely, and we are proceeding to the purples, which I wanted to do last because it's my favorite. It's like you save the best for last, right? That's the way the saying goes. Now, at the top is a little bit more neutral and kind of dusty rose, and then it really gets into the purples. So let's get into it. So here is the first row, a couple of iridescent ones, it looks like. And we've got pearl. That's a good name for it, pearl. Looks like a topper again. Lilac, which is a matte. Very soft, but shows up. That's great. Wish the lime green were like that. And then after that is starlight. I really have to use the viewfinder to make sure I don't overlap the shadows here. Ah, starlight is beautiful. It looks like another topper too. Beautiful. Okay, let's go a second time in with those. Now we're into a few colors that ended up getting repressed because there were a couple of casualties in the palette. That is such a pretty matte, and it looks like it would have some staying power. That's really nice. I like this combo. These 3, I really like that combo. Okay, so that is it for those. And the fingers again. They are so pretty. So nice. Okay, very nice first row for sure. Now we have a very matte and very deep trio coming up. Okay, and the third one is quite gritty, but it's not unusual for a purple. So we have Bloom. And then we have Tahiti. And Grape. Okay, not bad for the first go, and let's re-swatch. If you don't have a whole lot of palettes and you want a variety of color, this one is really impressing me so far. Let's see if I can not mess up this lilac here. There's a lot of overlap here. Okay, well, they all show up, but there's a little bit more overlap than I'd like. Okay, so those are those three. And the fingers, wow, they are so pretty. They're really three mats that go so well together. The curation is really good. Yes, it's 40 shadows, but all of them are really good. I'm so impressed so far. We only have 3 more rows of 3 to go. We're almost done. Okay, so here are the next 3. Quite vivid colors. So we have Pink Lily. Now that doesn't really show up all that well, does it? Pink Lily. Rose Pink, which is supposed to be a kind of a really bang color. Oh, it's a topper. Okay. It looks deeper in the pen, but it's a topper. That's fine. And then we have Amethyst, which seemed to have a lot of color. Yeah, that's a nice one. Okay, I think they definitely all need a re-swatch. Less the Amethyst than the other two, but they're really not showing their best, are they? Let's see what happens with a second go. Okay, there we go. You know, these are making me think of Certify. As an eyeshadow brand. I really like their pinks and purples. And that was actually, Certify was a gift from Steph as well. She's got really good taste. Let me just say that much. Really good taste. And I want to redo this one, Pink Lily. I just feel like it's got a lot more promise. Look at the finger, right? It just doesn't translate. So let me just give it just one more chance here so that we can see the matte properly. Okay, that's as much as I'm going to do, but I just wanted to give it a little bit more of a chance because on the finger it's far more vibrant. All right, and we have just 6 more shadows. 6 more shadows, and we're definitely going to make it. That's good. So 40 shadows that I'll be able to show you at the end. This is a new amount for me as far as swatching in one go, so I am learning something today. Okay, so this one was Blue Moon, and Is It Ever? It looks so different. These two actually, this one and this one, they look so different from what is in the pan. It's so different. In the pan, this one looks purple. And the next one is Magenta. Oh, that's swatched so poorly. Magenta, and then the next one, Twilight. Okay, these two really need some help. That is very poor. But you know what? You always have to swatch twice. In my view, I just find that there's so much better information by swatching twice. And how often, when you're doing an eye look, do you go into a pen one time? It's quite rare. Unless it's a topper or and just an accent you're putting over top, just another color that you're putting over top to offer some contrast. Usually you're going back more than once. Okay, so those are it for those three. I'm not too impressed with the two pinks, but again, these are swatches. I'll just do the magenta one again because it's the one in the middle, and it feels very stiff in the pan. Just see if I can get a little bit more of a view here. There's not that much difference between magenta and the next one, Twilight, at least in the swatches. But on the fingers, they look so different, no? Anyway, okay, well, we've got the last three, and then we can just take a look at the whole thing. And the last three, two of them are very, very deep colors. Okay, so these are the last three. Look at that black. Okay, so this is Fruity. That does nothing. Okay, Blackberry does nothing. And what this one is Black Beach. Better do something. There we go. That one actually has color. Okay, so that was pretty much a bust except for the black. And here we go, last time. That barely built up. That looks terrible. Sometimes swatches don't cooperate, but this is kind of ridiculous. So the black is coming through, but it darn well should. I'm just going to re-swatch these two. The thing is, the way that shadows show in a swatch, it does not say anything for what it's going to do on the eye. It's really not an indication. It's just that it sucks that you can't really see the two very well. You'll have to rely on my fingers really because it's just not coming out on the forearm. Okay, let's take a look at the two forearms stacked, and I can give you at least my first impressions. Okay, let's stack those forearms. So here we go. This is the entire palette. And boy, is there a difference between the first half and the second half. It's really like two very different palettes. And we have seen palettes like this and like this, right? So the hot tamale type of palette, we've seen that. We've seen palettes that are curated to look like nature and ocean, almost like a tropical paradise set of colors. This is the fiery kind of what's it called? Autumn kind of leaning skin tones and color preferences. And then you've got the very cool type of shadows here and a little bit of fiery here, but mostly just because of that one color. But going from more fiery and salmon to cooler tones on this side and the requisite black. I'm a little bit surprised actually they did a requisite black but not a white. Since it's 40 shades, I'm kind of surprised that there wasn't a white in there to kind of, as a white shadow helps you transform other shadows, just like a black shadow helps you to deepen, white can help lighten. But that's just an observation. I love the fact that there are, let me just go back this way. I love the fact that there are so many mattes. There are a ton of mattes in here, and I think that the easy way out is to go for shimmers, a lot of shimmers, because they just catch the eye. But I'm really happy with the number of mattes that they put in. Mattes are the absolute base of a look. I mean, this look that I did today is mostly mattes. I just added some shimmer on the center lid and on the brow bone, but the majority of the look is based on a couple of mattes. I think that they really set the tone for a look, and to have so many, like how many shimmers are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 shimmers out of 40 total shadows. That's really a great matte ratio here. So if you love mattes to build looks like I do, that's a lot of mattes in a palette. I'm really impressed, really happy with it. Like I said, these remind me a lot of Certify palettes, and I like Certify for a lot of the same reasons. I'm looking forward to playing with this palette. Let me just show you the forums one more time. If you have any requests for looks, don't hesitate, please, and I will show you the palette in a second in case that is what you need to make a selection. I really want to play with this palette. I think I could spend a month at a minimum with this palette without getting bored. It's just so good. I might even have this as my travel palette if I can put it in my laptop bag and just make sure it doesn't get messed up. It's about the size of a laptop, so I don't mind. You know, a condensed laptop. I'm not talking about those darn huge ones now. But yeah, I'm really happy about this palette, and to see the curation of these sections, at least in my eyes. Maybe you think I'm nuts, but it just feels like there's 3 sections that they spill over on each other. But to me, they're very distinct, and so you can come in and have a cluster of shadows that you know right away are going to work well together. And sure, you can go across the palette, but at least you have some curation that's been done, some good thinking that's been done in the palette, which makes it a lot easier to use a palette this size. Curation is essential the bigger the palette gets. When it's a small palette, you're very directed by the cosmetics maker on how to use, you know, a 9 pan or a 12 pan. It's not overload. But when it's 40 and they're all mixed up and you have no idea where to start, it can be a lot more overwhelming than really thought out color placement to help guide us. I think that's such a great idea. And then when you're comfortable, it doesn't matter that they're clustered by color type and that they're very natural to look at with the eye. You can bounce around, you're a lot more comfortable. But when it's chaos and you're just trying to figure out a palette, it can be overwhelming when it's 40 shades. That's all I'm going to say. BPerfect, you done good. This is great. Carnival #3, Love Tahiti, Stacey Marie, and BPerfect collab. Bravo. I really love what it is. And Steph, thank you. Thank you for this. I have been drooling over it. I've looked at it so many times and just was not allowing myself to get it. And for you to send it to me for my birthday along with the Beauty Bay and Nikki Tutorials collab, that was really super nice of you. Thank you so much. And I cannot wait to play with them. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it every time. And I'll see you in the next video. But for now, take care.